microphone, but here goes. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. The first poem I'm going to do, I wrote about a buddy of mine, larger than life character. He was an avid fisherman. We went fishing a lot together, and he kind of left a little early, you know, which is kind of along the lines of what the poem Wayne was doing before. Too late. Some things maybe he wanted to do and didn't get a chance to do. So I wrote this right after I left the wake. It was the first time I had lost a dear friend. So I wrote this on my BlackBerry as I drove. Don't tell any law enforcement. So this one's for my buddy Frankie, who I lost about 3 years ago. It's called Gone Fishing. Stolen from this life into the ever ethereal, the final charter has left the dock, never to return to its home port. Yet maybe you will return to the sea in the form of an eternally elusive marling, when the Lord is seeking a free spirit for his oceans, swimming through wrecks and caves, breaching the waters and eclipsing the sun, never to be caught or gaffed. You will swim on, as stories of your size and cunning resound on the docks for ages to come. The anglers will speak often about the one that got away, one that could not be decked, a silver-sided sword carrier who will swim into the mythos of the fisherman and be warmed by the sun at the surface of the sea forevermore. And that was from my pal Frank. Just a quick funny story about him. You know, he liked his ale, and maybe a little too much, but we always used to go to Ben Benson's Steakhouse, and he would order a drink, and by the time the waiter got around the table to the other side, he'd already have the first drink gone, and he'd say, "Can you do me a favor, bring me another one? I think there was a hole in this glass." So anyway, the next one was kind of written. I got home from work. It was one of those days, you know, one of those days in the rat race where you kind of wonder, you know, where did it all come about? You know, Blackberries, and you know, where does work, you know, and life kind of balance itself out. And I wrote this poem called "Longing for a Simpler Time," which did get published in Ireland and in England and here in New York. And it's kind of autobiographical. Sitting here, recliner, motionless, slaughtered from another day. Bushmills whiskey in a sweating glass. The umbilical cords to the world I sever. No telephones to speak of. Television, a distant possibility. Staring down candlelight, enraptured, lost. Envisioning employment at a blacksmith shop. Handlebar mustaches and horseback. Maidens in fancy dress. Granting the spirit more with less. Reading passages of the greats. Extinguishing lamps with exhalation. Fishing lakeside with tree limbs and string, making a catch worthy of the table. Take me, Lord, from this time. There must have been some mistake. Seems to be a trend in some of this stuff, in that it's always seems to be after a bad day that I kind of write. This is another one too, Friday Afternoon Observation, which was just kind of same thing, a week, pretty torturous week, and just walking over to catch the train and just kind of watching everybody come and go. And when I did get on the train, I picked up the BlackBerry, which I can't seem to put down, and I wrote this. And this is called Friday Afternoon Observation. In times such as these, when burdens and worries become our master, and the hands of time seem to rotate much faster, one may pass through their lives as if blindfolded in a museum, bypassing the gemstones as if they can't see them, leaving people behind unaware that they need them, piling books in a box and not stopping to read them. If the future yields rain, the sun will still rise. It sits aloft in the sky, though obscured from our eyes. Jump off of this train as it barrels through town. Hit the earth with a crash and lay still on the ground. Suppress all of your breaths, and then you will see that it is better to slow down and simply be. so nervous, my right leg is shaking like up and down. It's either that or I got a doctor's appointment to go to. This next one, I grew up in Rockaway Beach, Queens, the Irish Riviera. And so we got anyone from the Irish Riviera? We do? Good. So this one I wrote probably about 13 years ago. Just quickly, down at the corner, I was about 13. There was some new concrete poured, and I put my initials in it, and it's still there. And 15 years later, I went back with my son, who was 4. And I went back to that block, probably for the first time in a while. And so I came up with this poem about that experience. It's called Sacred Ground. Streets of wondrous youth revisited. Whacked that sign at 7, leapt in vain from the age of 4. The feeling lives but is new no more. I fished the beach and learned to ride, rang the doorbell and ran to hide. Spied the girls who laughed too loud on the shaded corner in the pulsing crowd. Westward breezes of the escaping sun kissed my face when the day was done. Songs of summer and solar came, faces, sweet 16s, and August rain. New ground was poured, any town's walk of fame. I genuflect and sign my name. I'm 15 years older now, and staring down, my son's hand in mine, on sacred ground. This next brief one was just a ride on the bus, and I don't know, maybe feeling a little, you know, down that day, and it's very brief. I just took a glance over at the side of a funeral home, and at that particular time there was a lot of losses going on around me and in my family. And this one was called White Doors Laden. And ultimately it all comes to this: you shall enter through and again beyond the cottony white doors laden with gold, to speak upon my deaf ears at some of my quietest moments. Thank you very much for listening.